Welcome, everyone, here in Austin, as well as watching online to Consensus 2022. My name is Pete Paschal. Good luck to the Sterling guy, who I think is coming out later. I am the Chief of Staff for Content for CoinDesk, and this is Crypto Unlocked. Whether you're new to crypto or you just need a refresher, you have come to the right place. This is the place we're going to give you some foundational knowledge and some going over some of the basics of crypto so that you have everything you need to get the most out of the world of digital assets, as well as get the most out of the show. So we've got a jam-packed agenda. We've got 5 sessions for the next 3 hours, which means, unfortunately, there's not going to be a ton of time for Q&A at the end of each session. So some of the moderators, however, and the panelists may be able to stay afterward for a little bit for an informal Q&A. If you do that, I would just ask that you take it out to the foyer so that it doesn't disturb the other presentations. All right, well, we've got a jam-packed agenda. So I'm here to introduce our first session, and it is a Bitcoin Wallets 101, getting started with, it's not on the screen, but it's something about Bitcoin wallets, and I can't think of anyone. Oh, there it is. It's Wallets and Exchanges 101, buying your first crypto. And I can't think of anyone better to moderate this than my colleague Toby Bochan, who leads the Crypto Explainer Plus channel on CoinDesk. And she's going to be talking to Lindsey Grossman, who is heads up Block's Bitcoin wallet, as well as Neil Bergquist, who's the CEO of Coinme. Welcome, you guys. Take it away, Toby. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the great introduction, and welcome to Crypto Unlocked. I'm so excited to welcome everyone here. I run sort of the education section at CoinDesk, so it's really important to me to help people on board into crypto, which is, to a lot of people, a really sort of opaque and tech jargony thing. So I'm really excited to have our panelists with us, and I just want to start, as I always do when I talk to people, about just basic definitions. So we're talking about wallets, exchanges, buying your first crypto. So we're just going to start, what's a crypto wallet and what's a crypto exchange? So I like to think of it as a wallet is like you have a real wallet. It's where you store things. So if you have crypto, you put it in a wallet. And an exchange is where you exchange things. So I give you $1, you give me a candy bar. And this is a great way to sort of introduce our panelists and sort of have them talk a little bit about how they fit in, and there they are again. So Neil, I'd love to have you sort of introduce yourself, what Coinme does, and sort of where you fit into that universe.
Sure. Hi, I'm Neil Bergquist. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Coinme. Coinme is one of the largest cash-to-crypto exchanges in the world. We got started back in 2014. When it was just Bitcoin, it wasn't really even crypto, launching one of the first 10 Bitcoin ATMs. And then we've evolved to build a technology that can crypto-enable really any ATM, kiosk, point-of-sale device in order to solve the access to crypto and a better financial future problem. So in partnership with Coinstar and MoneyGram, we operate about 20,000 locations. And I'm pleased to say that we have a Coinme location located within 5 miles for about 90% of the American population. So we're solving the access problem and the inclusion to financial services problem, and excited to be here. We also operate a wallet that is a custodial hosted wallet, so your crypto is safe with us.
Great, thank you so much, Neil. And Lindsey, same question.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsey Grossman, and I lead our partnerships, product, and marketing team at Block, working on the Bitcoin wallet. So Block, if you're not familiar, is the company behind Square and Cash App and a number of other business units. And here at Block, we're building a self-custody Bitcoin wallet that allows customers to truly own their own Bitcoin keys, and also allows them to easily send and receive money across borders and locally, as Bitcoin really increases as a payment method as well. Later in our conversation, I'm sure we'll cover what we think the value of self-custody is, and also, most importantly, the reason we got into this business is that we believe you can safely and easily own your own Bitcoin, but also access your money easily. And typically, self-custody hasn't really thought very much about ease of use, and we're trying to do both.
100%, and we'll definitely come back to that. But before we get to sort of the differences between custody solutions, I do want to sort of take the first step, which is sort of, if you're buying cryptocurrency, how do you decide what to buy and sort of how do you focus your purchasing selection. So, you know, a lot of us, these are sort of, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I put the Dogecoin there for the altcoins, but that's sort of anything that's not Bitcoin. It's referred to as an altcoin, so it's an alternative to Bitcoin, which was the first cryptocurrency. So I'd love for each of you, and Neil, we can start with you, or sort of how do you approach, you know, which cryptocurrencies you offer? How did you sort of start? I know, you know, Coinme's been around since I think 2014. So how did you sort of start and select Bitcoin and then expand from there?
We started with Bitcoin. We stayed true to just Bitcoin for a very long time. It wasn't until within the last 12 or so months that we started adding different cryptocurrencies to the wallet and the exchange platform. Really, you start off with market demand and what's the unique use case of this coin. Bitcoin is predominantly seen as a store of value. It's also being used as a medium of exchange, but it can be slow and expensive. And then you got Bitcoin Lightning to help hopefully solve that problem. But then you also have some of these coins that have different functionality, like a smart contract feature of Ethereum, or even coins that can be super fast on kind of a lightning speed network like Stellar. So we've evolved to really meet about 8 different coins in the platform, and starting with market demand, what problem does it solve? And then you've got to go to kind of a regulatory review. The New York DFS is really, as far as we know, the only regulator that provides clarity around which coins can be added to a crypto exchange. And so we follow their guidelines, create our own listing policy, do a legal review, and then ensure that we're adding coins that we can really represent as being safe and trusted on our platform.
That's great. I think, you know, that's one of the big concerns, especially when you think about sort of the altcoin universe, is how do you know that they're safe? And, you know, sort of what metrics do you need to sort of, what benchmarks do you sort of meet before you would add something? And Lindsey, you've sort of, as Block generally is a very, as they call them, Bitcoin maximalist company currently, but sort of explain, you know, sort of the background of that and the sort of what would it take in the future, do you think, to sort of expand the reach of what Block is offering?
Absolutely. I think that I'd refer to what we're doing at Block as Bitcoin first. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I would personally classify us as Bitcoin maximalist, but I'll talk about why. So when we look at Bitcoin specifically, we are most excited not only about store of value, which I think is a very clear use case you see among consumers in the United States, people holding it and saving for the future. We also see Bitcoin as an opportunity for a payment method, a true currency. And I think oftentimes when people only focus on the store of value, they're actually having a really closed, I would argue, American-centric view. I talked to customers last week in Kenya and Nigeria, and these people are using Bitcoin to send money domestically as well as internationally, because a couple of reasons behind that. One is that their own fiat currency is highly inflationary. I had a really heartbreaking story of a customer in Nigeria telling me about how the price of spaghetti within a single month had increased that was totally out of reach. And so when he said, you know, I said, why are you using Bitcoin? It's because it's more stable than my own currency, the Nigerian Naira. And also, there's great interoperability. And so Bitcoin for us is really special because it is truly decentralized. No one single authority, no single one company is going to manipulate or call the rules. It's consensus driven. And so because of that inherent infrastructure, we also believe its payments potential is huge. And as you know, Block started truly as a payments company helping small businesses accept point of sale. So that's why we're really excited about Bitcoin. I think the other thing that I would say, in the future, would we help customers store other digital assets? I think absolutely, but we need to have a customer-first mindset. What problem is that asset solving? I don't want to go create a wallet that essentially looks like a casino with a bunch of coins that, you know, I can't, with good faith, say to a customer that this is a safe asset. And so that's why we're starting with Bitcoin. We'll keep an open mind and see what other problems that we can help people manage their financial lives or even think about identity down the line. But yeah, that's why we think Bitcoin is interesting to begin with.
I think that's a really great answer. And I think it leads to another thing I wanted to talk about with Neil. It's sort of like the why. And I think that's something you really have to think about when you're considering why are you buying cryptocurrency? What is your motivation? And Neil, I know you've seen some interesting use cases in terms of like why and how people are using the Coinme, either ATMs or app to transact and exchange. So sort of how do you see the ecosystem evolving, and sort of what are your point of view on that?
Yeah, great question. And this is probably the funnest part of doing what we do, is just learning how people are using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to solve everyday problems. Back in the early days, we actually had miners that would use our locations because they were mining at home or on a laptop, and they would come in and liquidate their mining for cash. That doesn't exist today. So they've definitely evolved over the years. We have a couple different use cases. People are buying Bitcoin as a store of value. So really they see it as a purchase and a way to have a hedge against inflation, or a way to be able to participate in the crypto economy. And we provide a really familiar, safe, trusted transaction experience. In just a few clicks, you can buy Bitcoin. And then we also use cash as a payment type. So about 20% of transactions in the US are still cash-based. And so there's definitely a portion of the market that prefers to use cash. And what's interesting is when we dive deeper into that market segment, we learn about people that store cash in their refrigerators. They don't trust banks. They think they're the enemy. And they go to our locations and buy Bitcoin, and then they transfer it out of our wallet into some type of self-custody solution. There's definitely people that also prefer the simplicity of keeping it in the wallet. And so really people have that optionality. And then there's the market of people that are using it as a medium of exchange. One of the key features is you can go to one of our locations with cash, buy crypto, so effectively digital cash, and then send that to nearly any phone in the world. I mean, that's the big aha here with crypto. I mean, the Bitcoin white paper, the headline was an electronic peer-to-peer cash system. Like, let's not forget that. It wasn't like a protocol to trade altcoins. So really, like, we literally turn cash into that digital cash to create that electronic cash system. So people sending it for remittances, payments, suppliers that sell things overseas actually are telling people, hey, send me Bitcoin, not fiat. It's too expensive to send me fiat. So actually we're seeing some of the demand come from the receive side, and then people are finding us and see us in the grocery store and are able to now buy Bitcoin.
That's great. You have anything?
Yeah, I would just maybe add on top, I fully agree with Neil. The payments use case is really exciting. I think when we think about how do you store and manage your Bitcoin keys and actually manage your money, maybe I'll just give a little bit of context what we're building. So in terms of self-custody, oftentimes the options that exist today are typically hardware wallets. There are software self-custody wallets too. But they're really built for a use case of holding your money for a long time and not really touching it, which means on purpose, for security reasons, are very difficult to use. But the flip side of that is because they're so difficult to use, often security-driven mindset, that it's difficult to use for the owner. and not only is it challenging, but it's actually anxiety producing. A lot of these hardware wallets, people make accidental mistakes when they're transferring it and trying to send money, are on and off ramping, for example, converting between fiat and crypto. And I think the other challenge that they see too is if you lose your hardware wallet and you don't remember the 12 or 24 seed phrases, right? A long set of random words. We're all humans. Think about how many times you forgot a password. You lose your money.
Yeah.
We don't believe that that is acceptable. Bitcoin has huge potential to create opportunities for people and financial inclusion that didn't exist in fiat world because of the reasons that you talked about. High fees, broken infrastructure packaged together around the world. And so what we're building actually is what we call a multi-signature self-custody wallet. And what that means is there's three parts of our wallet. One is a mobile app that you'll download from an app store, and you're going to use that app for everyday sending. It's going to be really easy to send to your friend in Mexico or send to your friend across town. And then we're going to have, and that's one key that you own inside of the app. And then the other part of the wallet is the hardware component. These are two prototypes. They're hexagon shaped. They have fingerprint readers on them. And they will communicate with the phone via NFC. So you'll tap it with the app whenever you want to move money of higher quantities. And so you as the user tell the app, hey, I'm happy just to use my phone for, let's say, money movement, let's say anything below $100 USD equivalent. But for anything bigger than that, I want that extra peace of mind, that extra layer of security. And so I want to require this as a second factor of security. And the other great thing is that not only does this help you with extra security for money movement, it also helps you in case you lose your phone. And so that element of recovery, and you put your finger on it, you tap it to the phone, and you can get your money back. You don't have to remember 24 seed phrases. So, and this whole idea is that we could build something that's self-custody driven that also allows people to send and receive their money in an easy way. And that really hasn't existed in a self-custody wallet before.
Yeah, and this sort of comes to this, I put up a slide just to take a step back, just so everyone in the audience knows there's different kinds of wallets. So there's a hot and cold. So as Lindsey was saying, there's a hot wallet, which is connected to the internet. It's a, MetaMask, it's this app, it's online. And then there's a cold wallet, which is a storage solution, sort of, if you could hold that up again.
They certainly don't look like this today, but
No,
this is what they'll look like.
They generally look like a USB, key fob, and you actually, it stores it on the material, on the thing. And then there's it's offline, it can't be touched by anyone. You have to reconnect it, you have to do everything. It's very manual every time. And then there's custodial versus non-custodial, which is again another differentiator, which is sort of very confusing, and one that even I get confused in. I'm not, a crypto expert still. I've been learning as I teach, so I still get a little flummoxed when you say custodial. I think, oh, I have it. I'm the custodial wallet person, but really it's non-custodial, which is the same as self-custody. So I think there's advantage to both. And so Neil, your solution is a custodial wallet. And what do you see sort of the advantages of having a custodial account?
Yeah, there's many. One of our customer promises is simplicity. And not to give Lindsey a hard time here, but that explanation wasn't very simple to me. And maybe it's more for the advanced user. We'll see, right? We'll let the customer decide. But in our use case, you can go literally half a mile that way, put cash into a machine, and then create an account with a username and a password, and you just bought Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and that's it. You remember a username and password. And so for us, we're trying to help crypto go mainstream, and so for us, it's important to provide a familiar transaction experience. And it's very familiar to do like a deposit or to create a username and password. It's very familiar to contact us when you forget that password. And even some of these fringe use cases, if there's a passing in the family and one of the family members wants to get access to the crypto, we can help you with that. And so, yes, there is an expense, and we have a dedicated customer support team and operations center to help with this. But it's simple and it's trusted. And because we're a regulated exchange, we have that third-party oversight to ensure that we're doing it the right way. And I will say, in this day and era, it's 2022. This isn't the wild, wild west anymore. Custodied solutions are safe and secure and blended hot and cold, but you don't even need to worry about that.
Yeah, I think maybe how I would think about that is I definitely agree that custodial, just to be clear on terms, custodial means a third party like Coinme or Coinbase, for example, own your Bitcoin keys. To sign up, I haven't gone through your sign up process. It sounds pretty simple, but oftentimes with custodial solutions, to sign up and do what's called KYC, the Know Your Customer, and AML processes, there's a lot of hoops for people to join. And actually, oftentimes these custodial products don't serve many parts of the world because it's hard to enter those geographies. So while it might seem simple to, let's say, some users in the United States, I would argue that many custodial solutions are actually not easy to onboard to. With self-custody, or what you might hear of non-custodial, what that means is you as the customer own your own Bitcoin keys. That means no company can freeze your funds. That means no company can decide how much money you take off your platform or when you take it on, or and I think that gives users a lot of freedom and self-control, and that's exciting to a lot of people. Now, why have people not traditionally gone there? Because I think you're right. I think historically people have trusted these institutions. But I also think that people haven't been given great customer experiences with self-custody. And so what we're going to do here is make it really easy to sign up, make it really easy to access your money, send and receive whenever you want, add additional layers of security if you so choose. And so we think through delivering a great user experience, we'll automatically start to change the equation. The default will start to look like self-custody rather than what it is today.
Yeah, I do think one of the things that the sort of seed phrase, I have a wallet that I have to have, I have this written down in several places. I put it in my special safe at home where I have my birth certificate and stuff. And then I also have it in another place. But if I die, what happens? Who will know how to get my coin? So like, do you have a solution? I know that, we can each talk about it, sort of like, 'cause I do think it's interesting, like if you lose, that's the big fear of self-custody, I think. And what happens if, and in custodial accounts as well, like, we're talking about real money for real people, and what happens in these sort of failure points where, people, we all have forgotten passwords, we've all locked ourselves out of accounts, so sort of like how do each of you deal with those solutions?
Inheritance is actually probably the reason that encouraged me, like it was the thing that got me really excited to jump on board into this role. This is my first formal role in crypto. Before I'd worked in traditional financial services and fintech globally. And when I started talking to the Block leadership team about the challenges of self-custody inheritance, it really broke my heart, because back in, even in Miami and the Bitcoin conference a few months ago, we were talking about what we were building on stage, and an elderly man came up to me afterwards and he said, hey, I'm using one of the, I won't name it, but I'm using one of the traditional hardware wallets with seed phrases, pretty complicated to use. And he said, as you can tell, I'm not going to be around forever, and I'm really worried that my wife, when I die, she won't understand where my seed phrases are. And even if she remembers where they are, I don't know that she'll know how to use them with this hardware wallet. And he said, please, when are you releasing your product? I really want to use it because it's easy to use. And so one of the features that we're working on right now, I'm so excited about, is building an easy way for when you pass, for your money and the entire wallet to be passed down to your intended beneficiary. And so that really hasn't existed in self-custody before.
And Neil, how do you sort of deal with, what is the advantages sort of to the more customer service, you have a person you can reach out to recover your account, like sort of how do you deal with, again, inheritance, but also just general, the human error, the human point of failure?
Yeah, I mean, simplicity is a key feature. Part of our customer promise is also providing a fiat to crypto exchange experience that's embedded into the custody experience. So that makes it very easy. If you're a non-custodial solution or self-custody, it's very difficult to legally provide that fiat to crypto exchange within that custody solution. You have to have two different companies, one that you custody with and another one that you trade with. We bring those two together, so you have one account that does everything that you want it to do, and we just found that to be very easy. Keep in mind, a large portion of the people in the United States are still used to going to a bank to do a financial transaction, and then they've evolved to those bank teller machines, and now they're evolving to online banking, and now we're trying to pull them into a crypto neobank type experience. And as they learn more, and if they prefer self-custody, absolutely it's an option. Just transfer the crypto out into a self-custody solution like the one that Lindsey's building. So really giving people that optionality and that choice is key. But in order to help crypto cross the chasm, we just really want to hit on that simplicity, familiar transaction experience card.
Yeah.
Maybe if you don't mind, I'll respond to that. So what I mentioned, that we're building the ability to own your own Bitcoin, safely secure it, and also to send and receive across borders. We are not building the ability to take your British pounds or US dollars and convert it to Bitcoin. That's where we actually see the power of partners, whether that's Coinme or whether that's Coinbase or whether that's our own Cash App. Those companies, as you mentioned, are regulated to provide those exchange services, and we think they do a good job at that. But I'm also not sure if customers want to be locked into just one exchange. I think having one place to do it all might be good for some customers, but I've also heard customers say, hey, I got locked into crypto.com or I got locked into Coinbase because all my stuff is there, but now the fees are high and I feel like I don't have another choice. And so our vision of what on and off ramps or exchange between crypto and fiat look like in our wallet is, in our app, you will click the buy button, and then we would surface you choice. Ideally, we would have APIs that all these partners would come on board and transparently exchange, share their prices, transparently talk about what payment methods they do and don't accept, and to have a really seamless choice discovery experience, and then once after post-purchase, right, our onboarding into Bitcoin, making sure that you can safely and easily get that money back into your Block hardware wallet. So, we're still working on this now, but our early hypothesis is that customers don't necessarily want to be locked into just one exchange.
That's great. And Neil, in terms of sort of the ease of within, your exchange of going between things, how do you see sort of the on-ramps and off-ramps in your customer experience? Sort of like, are people coming in, going to an ATM, getting Bitcoin and then using the app? Like, how does sort of the journey go? Like, are there a lot of people who are exchanging, for instance, within your wallet, the exchange part of it, sorry, like Bitcoin for Ethereum, and then using that to transact outside? Like, sort of, is that a use case you're seeing, or?
Yeah, we really utilize the power of your smartphone to make a really seamless transaction experience at an agent or a cashier or a kiosk. So you can create an account, and then you can find a location, insert cash, and then redeem that transaction into your account, or it just shows up instantly into your Coinme wallet. So that is super easy, very few clicks. Several years ago, the market was you'd go to a Bitcoin ATM, you'd put in cash, and then it would ask you, please scan your wallet. And if you're a first-time purchaser, you're like, well, what the heck is a wallet?
Yeah.
And then you're trying to Google it, and it's not terribly helpful. And so, by having that wallet embedded into the kiosk, it feels more like a deposit and a withdrawal. Because there is no kind of third party. And then if something goes wrong with the transaction, who do you call? It's like, oh, that was the network, you didn't pay enough miner fees, or oh, it's actually your custody solution that you're not able to access your crypto, or no, it's the ATM, that didn't actually send it. You've one company that is responsible for the end-to-end experience, and really building that out in a way that people can trust it and have it be very simple is what we keep wanting to hit home.
Yeah, and just to follow up on the sort of pros and cons, I think we've covered most of these pros and cons that I sort of said. So, this is a self-custody. This is the pros and cons sort of spelled out. So, I think the pros, we've dealt with, you're the only one who has access, although you can set up people, I guess, in your experience, to have secondary or the sort of
and actually you'll be able to set up people to help you in case you lose your phone, or help you in case you lose the hardware component.
And then, there's no counterparty risk. So, I think recently Coinbase was in the news because it was rumored that if they went bankrupt, people who had money in their exchange could lose all their money. That sort of your keys, your coin. There's no way that you can lose your Bitcoin or other crypto if it's in your self-custody solution. And then it's censorship. No one, as you were saying before, can tell you what to do with it, how much you can take out, when you can take out, where you can send it to. Are there any other things I've missed here on the pros side of the self-custody?
I think, well, it doesn't exist today, but hopefully when we're done with our job, I'd say these things are also easy to use.
Yes.
And you can both have security and long-term storage that's safe, as well as easy access to your Bitcoin to send and receive and to pay for things, as we see increasingly Bitcoin as a payment method.
Yes, and then on the con side, that's sort of the last one was the bigger learning curve. I definitely think, people are used to apps, they know about ATM, so it's a much easier, but if you do, and if you lose your keys currently, it is very hard, it is gone. Your assets are not insured. It means that I'm not sure, do you have any kind of insurance for customers if anything happens to their accounts, or anything like hacks or anything on Coinme? Or?
Yeah, we use a myriad of different insurance providers to be able to cover balances. It all depends on the type of incident that happens. And then even with the Coinbase situation that came out, that was obviously a very untimely required disclosure, considering that sales were down, and then they came out with this statement that the SEC required them to say, which is helpful because you want disclosures, and you want as many disclosures as possible so people can make educated decisions. And I think that the piece there that's, we're still in the early days, but there hasn't been a bankruptcy of a crypto exchange where a judge has actually had to make that decision of, does the balances of these customers go to the customer, to the creditors? But using other kind of analogous situations, the customer always comes first. So, a judge isn't going to say, yeah, steal the customer's money to pay off these, capitalistic investors. No, I do not see that happening. I'm not a lawyer, this is not financial advice, et cetera,
no,
but customer always comes first, and the US has very strong consumer protection laws, and then employees and creditors and debtors after that. So maybe one day we'll see that play out, but keep in mind it's just a maybe. Again, then you have the risk of, if you hold your keys, then don't get dementia, or have your house burned down with your private phrase, or and then you become a target.
Yes, well, you do hear about people getting hacked with their seed phrases, and that's sort of that. If you're hacked, you could say goodbye to your holdings forever. So, there are a lot of phishing scams where people will say like, oh, I'm from MetaMask or I'm from this, wallet company. I need you to send me my seed phrase. Never do that, guys. But, if you give someone those recovery phrases or seed phrases, they can get access to everything and they can drain your account in seconds and it's gone forever. There's nobody will help you.
Or the other option is just get a self-custody wallet that doesn't even have seed phrases to begin with.
Yes, so it's nice that there is going to be a solution there because that is something that I am very anxious about sometimes. Like I am very, if my apartment burns down, I will have, those seed phrases will be gone. They're not on a metal plate, which you hear about. Some people have them engraved on a metal plate and they'll put them somewhere, but that is not, I'm not that sophisticated. So I'm gonna, these are some of the key takeaways I hope to leave you guys with. So just in terms of generally thinking, and then I'll throw it to each of you, but when you're investing in crypto for the first time or increasing, still don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Always do your own research, really find out what the background is, why are you doing it? And that's the, why are you going to buy in crypto? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it for an investment? Is it for payments? Is it to buy something? So, you have to really weigh that. Different solutions have pros and cons, so really consider what works for you. Whatever, any crypto, keep your password safe and private. And I have the plug for my own section at Learn, which has many more things. And Neil, any final takeaways or?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I wouldn't really call this like a beginner's conversation per se. I think we're kind of getting a little deep into the weeds. So the important thing here is that there's many trusted platforms and you have a choice. And that's the beautiful thing about crypto is you actually have choice. You can control your crypto if you want. You can trust another party to administer it for you. You can choose. And that's just one of the beautiful things that we have in this industry. And there's a lot of technological things that are now possible that haven't been possible before. So don't let the custody decision really sideline you from just buying cryptocurrency. What we've learned is people that just buy it are the ones that start to learn more about it and test it and do, on-chain send and receives, try a few different, play with it. And that's really the important thing. And don't stay on the sidelines. Just jump in and use a small amount to get started with.
100%. Lindsay?
Yeah, I would say the advice to make sure you know what you're buying and understanding what asset you're buying and how it works and what it's backed by. I think that's just general good advice. I think when making a decision on how to store your money, think about what's important to you, ease of use, security, interoperability to be able to use your money. Those things are important decisions. And I guess the last thing I would say is I'm really excited for what companies like Block and Coinme and others are doing. I think we all feel a deep responsibility to talk to especially new customers who haven't yet experienced Bitcoin or other crypto. We have a responsibility to also help educate in a way that's accurate but also approachable. And I'm excited to welcome the next 100 million customers of Bitcoin in the years ahead.
Great, that's a great place to end it. Thank you so much. For anyone who's interested in sort of learning more of a workshop how-to thing, there will be micro sessions tomorrow over in the convention center, so check those out on Friday. And thank you again both for coming.
Thank you.